Less than 100 kilometers from Delhi, amid low-lying buildings and microwave towers, rises a cathedral. Monumental in size and grandeur. The legacy of India's longest reigning female ruler. One woman with many personas. Farzana Zebunisa, Begum Samru, Joanna Nobilis. Her story began in turbulent times. The Mughal Empire had collapsed, shrinking to a small holding around the city of Delhi. In this time of unrest, foreign soldiers of fortune thrived in India. One such mercenary was 42-year-old Franco-German Walter Reinhardt. He had spent 15 years in India and was quite accustomed to the delights the city offered. Tonight he was visiting the home of Khanum Jan, a former courtesan. She ran the establishment as a place for entertaining gentlemen. Men like Reinhardt had grown wealthy in the employ of local princes. They lived like white Mughals, adopting the ways of India's medieval rich. Khanum Jan would have known that the foreign mercenary was an important guest. She would ensure special treatment. Serious and brooding, Reinhardt was nicknamed Sombre, the French word for dark. This night would change his life forever. Farzana Zebunisa was only 14 when she was pushed into the trade. The details are lost to time, but it would be safe to assume that Reinhardt was more than interested. Not long after, Farzana escaped to start a new life with Walter Reinhardt Sombre, or Samru as he was known in India. She would be called Begum Samru. 2.5 centuries later, the 14-year-old dancing girl is still remembered. She built the Basilica called Our Lady of Graces. It marked the end of a long career.
So the fascinating thing about Begum Samru is that she rules for 5 decades. And she rules for 5 decades in a world of men.
Reinhardt Sombre realized quickly that there was more to his young Begum than met the eye. He was a mercenary with an army on hire. She, a shrewd thinker. Sombre benefited from her counsel and advice. Their army became a highly desirable ally to rulers across North India. And it paid off. The huge estate of Sardhana was granted to them by the ruling Mughal. When Sombre died 10 years later, the Begum cleverly took charge. At 24, she became the ruler of Sardhana. Decades later, in 1822, Begum Samru began the construction of the cathedral. Her Italian architect, Antonio Regalini, designed 3 Roman domes flanked by 2 steeples. Inside was a marble altar, illuminated by skylights around the grand central dome. It was to become the largest cathedral in North India. By now, Begum Samru had ruled Sardhana for 5 decades. The structure reflected her magnificence. A hidden architectural secret was incorporated into the cathedral. Viewed from high above, the main body is in the shape of a cross. This detail is invisible at ground level. It was as if the structure had its own direct communion with God. Begum Samru had entered another phase of her incredible life. She converted to Catholicism and renamed herself Joanna Nobilis.
Towards the end of her life, Begum Samru is still at it. She writes to the Pope for recognition of her church, and the Pope responds favorably.
In 1834, the Vatican consented. Today, it has been upgraded to the status of minor basilica. This rare recognition is only given to churches across the world that are both historically famous and beautiful. The Begum was buried in the main hall of the cathedral, under a marble sculpture transported from Italy. It depicts an aged Begum Samru holding the scroll Mughal ruler Shah Alam II gave, granting her the Jagir of Sardhana. Love, ambition and faith had taken the dancing girl a long way.